Hey, this is Moshe in Israel. I'm in the Galilee where I've lived for many years. I'm a Galilean. Perhaps you read about such people in your Bible. Okay. Evening update on the war. Uh, Humanitarian supplies are still coming into South Gaza, not regular Gaza. We have photographic evidence of thousands and thousands and thousands of liters of fuel that is in Gaza in the possession of Hamas, and they're still screaming that the hospitals are running out of fuel, and they're not. We've showed videos of a hospital with all the lights on when they said that the place was shut down, and they're just lying, okay? A group of Russian intelligence agents that went to Gaza a few months ago, I think, 2 months maybe, and probably to help them with this war, have disappeared, and they haven't reported in for 2 weeks. And there's a handful of them, maybe 10 or 12 or something like that. And my guess is that they're now hostages of Hezbollah. I could imagine that they were probably interrogated. God only knows what that looks like. They may not. They may have just been eliminated. I don't know, but they're probably hostages. And this is a logical explanation why Putin flip-flopped and is now anti-Hamas. Turkey is now flip-flopped and is pro-Hamas. For a little while, he was against them because the lying about the bomb on the hospital was really one of their own rockets, and now he's saying Hamas is not a terrorist organization, they're a liberation army or liberation organization. Part of the pressure that we hear about, which is really unconfirmed, actually, we're getting statements coming from the government of Israel that there is no pressure from America on stopping the invasion or delaying it. But now we heard that the Americans told Israel that it would be better, instead of a big, across-the-board invasion, to just go in with small groups repeatedly here and there. Now, I'll tell you, this may not be a political decision, it might be a tactical decision. Well, it's not a decision, it's a suggestion, really. It has some merit with strategy. And it also might be helpful to get the hostages. It appears Biden has a strong interest for the upcoming election to get those hostages back, and I really don't see it. If being generous, they have a 1 in 10 chance of recovering those hostages alive with a military operation. These hostages are going to be spread in 10, 20 locations, probably a lot of them in the tunnels. Look, they just put them in a room, lock the door, put bomb belts on them, or leave explosives in the room that they could remote detonate. If anything happens, there's a breach or something, boom, they blow them up. Also, if there's a breach and they have warning, they'll start killing them and taking videos and broadcasting it on social media with their gruesome tactics to try to stop the invasion. So we don't know. They were dropping leaflets. Israel was offering money and, safe life if you could give us good information on where the hostages are. This could be a ploy to make Hamas think we don't know where the hostages are, and we might, so they don't want to move. It might be we don't know where the hostages are and we want to find out. It could also cause paranoia with them, and they could start pointing fingers and being suspicious of each other and all the other stuff. So I think it's a good idea they had, There's a lot of death and destruction that they're going to try to throw at our army if we go in. with Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and the other fringe groups there, they say they have 70,000. I think the figure's more like 50,000. They exaggerate. So, it, you know, it's a lot, okay? 300 miles of underground tunnels that they're telling us are 100 feet under the earth. The bunker buster bombs aren't really doing a lot, you know? And it's unclear why we're delaying, okay? There is talk of dissent in the Knesset. That's our Congress. It's a one-house Congress, 120 seats. They're not interested in Netanyahu's, the way he's dealing with the war at all. They're not. And they're saying that Netanyahu has spent, this is Haaretz newspaper, is saying that Netanyahu is spending half his time trying to secure his position as prime minister. He has 3 open, ongoing criminal trials for corruption, basically corruption in English. And the total, one case is 10 years in jail max. The other 2 are 3 years in jail. A max total is 16, which is highly doubtful the court would give him anything like that. But, 2 or 3 years in jail is enough, ruin him. And what's he going to do? Write a book from jail, how I wound up behind bars and make $10 million or something? They probably wouldn't let him do that. We're getting more warships from other countries are coming here. Germany is really standing up for Israel. It's shockingly good. Anybody doing anti-Semitism is not going to get a German passport they're talking about now, whatever that means. But we have pictures of people in London that are pulling the posters off the walls that are pictures of the hostages. So there's a lot of hatred. I put a map on my Telegram site of where the anti-Semitic attacks are in the United States, and it's not that many locations, but it's enough to be a little rattling. And it's only going to get worse. The war is expanding. We had an attack earlier today, missiles from Syria hitting the Golan Heights. Several of the missiles fell in Syria. Geniuses, aren't they? And some made it into the Golan and hit open areas. And we since bombed the Damascus and the Aleppo airports, blowing up the runways. Now, I don't understand why they blow runways up. Runways are good, blow the runways up, but there's a thing called the control tower. Why don't they blow that up? Why don't they blow the radar up? Why don't they take the gloves off? I don't get this. If they could hit the runway, they could hit a control tower. And the control tower was where the guys sit and they communicate with the pilots landing and taking off. And they have the radar and they have the monitors and stuff like that. If that stuff gets blown up, which we have the capability 100% to do it, pinpoint accuracy, it's going to cost lives, though. Probably going to see 30 or 50 people gone, and that might be the deterrent with them. But that's not going to put the airport out of action for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. It's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 months. The UN's completely against Israel. Okay? I told the people in my Telegram group I don't know of a single denomination, a Christian denomination, not an individual church, that is speaking out publicly in favor of Israel. If you know of any, let me know. I don't know of a single one. Kind of weird, huh? Makes you wonder, especially if you live in Israel, right? I don't hear nothing from these Christian ministries in Israel, the big ones, speaking out in favor of Israel. Um, Syria is saying that we need the two-state solution. We need to turn the West Bank over to the Palestinians. Listen, you saw what they did with Gaza when we turned it over to them. And if we turn the West Bank over to them, we're just going to have another Gaza in the West Bank that's bigger, and they're going to be able to get weapons in easier through Jordan, which is a weak government. The king in Jordan is not on steady footing. He's got a lot of factors in his government that would like to get rid of him. Okay, so the chances of Israel doing something like that are, on a 10 scale, 10 being they're going to do it, 1 they won't, a 1, or a 0. People aren't going to do it. I live here for years. You have to understand the people in Israel, left wing, center, right wing, gay rights, pro-abortion, anti-abortion, anti-gay rights, orthodox, non-orthodox, secular, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's united. They got to take Hamas and dismantle it. The only one that might be opposing this is Netanyahu. And, the people go. They're not, we know, without a shadow of a doubt, that if we don't dismantle it completely, it's going to just happen again and again and again, like it has been all these years. That's it. Well, we know that. So America's not going to be able to stop us. America's bringing all this war power in, planes, naval vessels, soldiers. I heard they deployed soldiers out of Romania. And either they're in Israel or near Israel, I don't know. Romania is not that far away. I think it's 2.5 hours by plane, so I don't know where they're putting them. And there's all kinds of squadrons of jets here, and B-52s, and refueling tankers, and naval vessels, and oh my gosh, it's, and it's not deterring these terrorist governments. They don't respond to threats like that. The only thing they're going to respond to is brute force applied. And one would think and hope the Pentagon has learned that by now. Everybody in Israel knows it. We know it. My area is quiet. Please pray that I don't have to go in bomb shelters and anything like that. And Syria's close to us. If that blows up, and it looks like they're going to open in the front in Syria. I don't think so. They're not going to. They just attacked this afternoon another American base. It was either Iraq or Syria, so they're not stopping with that. So America's learning a hard lesson about that. They're bringing in, I think they call it the THAAD, anti-missile systems, and they're distributing them around their asset. Let's see. There could be some serious dissent in the Knesset getting rid of Netanyahu, and he'll go out kicking and screaming only. But it looks like that it's growing. Every day we take 200 or 300 missiles from Gaza. And the only way we're going to be able to stop the missiles is with a ground invasion. And we're not given any one good reason or 2 good reasons or 3 good reasons why this shouldn't happen. They just keep telling us there's been a change, a delay, and this and that. And the Israeli people are sick and tired of this. They don't want it anymore. Would you? Would you want this? They went after Eilat today. Eilat has a lot of people down there that are evacuated from like Ashkelon, Ashdod, Sderot, places like that. I believe they're in like a tent city. So they're going after them. They're not going to get tourists in Eilat because what tourists are there in Israel? So our whole tourist industry is in the toilet. The shekel has dropped some against the dollar. I'll tell you what happened. Before the war, it was hovering around $1 would buy 3.8 shekels. Now $1 buys 4.05 shekels. It's not the end of the world, you know. But it's, for a few years, the dollar was buying 3.6 shekels. Before the war, it rose up to 3.8 approximately now. Yeah, so that's not the end of the world. I haven't checked gold spot prices today, but yesterday I think I checked them. They're in the 1900s. Nothing spectacular. Fuel prices, the Brent and the domestic oil for America, they're not. They're in the 80s. They're not spiking up. You know, the UAE spoke forward and said that Hamas should definitely return the hostages. That's going to mean nothing. They probably believe the reason there's no ground invasion is because of the hostages. That's my guess. They are trying to clean up their image. They released 4 hostages. One of the women that was in her 80s they released said that they hit her with sticks, wooden sticks. I don't here or in my Telegram channel go into the grotesque stuff. I did when it first happened, and everybody knows what they did. I don't keep putting it up there. Some people on Telegram do, and I don't criticize them for what they're doing. I just don't think it's necessary anymore. It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant for me to put it up, and I don't. Just don't do it anymore. It's just gruesome. It's horror porn, and I don't want to do that. It's not pornography. It's just horrible stuff. You know what they did, so we don't need to go into that. Netanyahu is like a ping pong ball getting batted around like a cat, with the 2 front paws. The Americans tell him to do something okay, and then the people in Israel start threatening him, like the Labor Party called for his immediate removal from office, and then he gets scared and he goes the other way. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a smart guy, okay? He's evil and vicious and vengeful and backstabbing, but he's not no genius. And basically, they're thinking he's failing in this war, and I would concur. Look at us every day, 200-300 rockets. Rockets aren't hitting him, It has to stop. And the only way we're going to get it to stop is a ground invasion. Look, when you're in tunnels like Hamas, you need air. You're 100 feet down, okay? You're not going to stick a PVC pipe up and take turns standing by the pipe and sucking air in, okay? They need to have some type of a fan pulling or blowing the air into the tunnels. With 300 miles of tunnels, you probably need 1 or 2 or 300 of these things or more. You'd need dozens and dozens of them. And they're findable. If they got them in the tunnel and they're electric, so they're not burning gas, then they got to have an electric source. But how hard would it be to find the vent up on the surface? Not hard at all. I mean, just to put it in plain, stupid terms, you could take an old T-shirt and stuff it in the vent, and then they don't got no air. I mean, there's way more sophisticated things to do. You can drop a nice little explosive charge down the pipe and give them a little knock. Hello, we're here. Boom, and that would bring it to an end. Then they got to crawl out like rats from the tunnel, and they have to go. Where they're going to go? They're going to be saying hello to our Merkava tanks and our armored personnel carrier and our Apache helicopter gunships and our F-16s. If this starts, will they kill the hostages? I think so. Most Israelis, many Israelis have been in the military and they stay in the reserves, the men do, until they're about 40. And, we understand how difficult of a tactical problem it is to get them out, especially if they're in the tunnels. So it's going to be hard. hard. And Israel is never going to say, okay, we'll stop the fight and go home. And Gaza and Hamas can live. And they're also going to want the terrorists in jail released, probably 4,000 or something like that, which we'll never do. Because they'll just go back to Gaza and hook up with Hamas and go for revenge. We know this. Okay, we live here. The other countries don't. So this isn't going to happen. I mean, it's just never going to happen, okay? Any way you slice the cake, it's not going to go down. So it's dragging out, and the people in Israel are not happy. When we go in, we could stop the rockets. They hide in the tunnels with these small rocket launchers. They crawl out of the tunnel. They set a few rocket launchers up. They fire the rockets. They run back in the tunnel. It doesn't take long. They're probably manufacturing rockets in the tunnels. And this is, at this point, a logical person would have to deduct that the only way you're going to stop these rockets is to go in on the ground. And the only way you're going to stop them is cut off their food supply, their air supply. They got fuel, they got water, they got medical, they got what they need, okay? Except they have a constant need for air to breathe, and that's their weakness. They have to get air from the surface, and there you have it. So that's what I have. If you'd like to join my Telegram group to follow the war in detail, with pictures, videos, 100 or 200 updates a day, getting all the news 12 hours before the mainstream media does, drop me an email. My email address is at the bottom line of the description box. It's israelgiving with the number 7 at Gmail. Israelgiving with the number 7 at Gmail. And just put Telegram in the subject header, and I'll send you the invite link. Okay, I also, on the Telegram, do a lot with Bible prophecy in the war, which I do on YouTube also, you know. We've got over 600 members on Telegram. We don't have any problems of any sort. It's really a good venue. Different than YouTube. YouTube's a video venue. They're not really a video venue. You can do audio files and text. It's a different venue. But between YouTube and that, it works well. I also do Twitter, but I don't do a lot with Twitter, so I'm not going to send you to the Twitter site. I'm thinking if there's anything else I should tell you that's important. Well, you know, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube so you get the updates and notifications when I get on the air. Because if the eggs start hitting the fan, there'll be a lot of live stream updates on YouTube. It's getting dark outside, so I'm fading away. You know, I didn't put the outside lights on yet, but the dogs are cooperating. They're not hunting down the Hamas dogs. You know, they're very concerned that Hamas has dogs that are looking for them. So anybody walks by, they bark their heads off. And my community is one of, I think, 200 communities in Israel that were issued weapons by the military or the government. And we recruit, I'm too old for this now, but they recruited ex-military, ex-police to join. They call it Shamron, which means watchman, literally. And we closed all the gates to our community. We have metal gates on the roads, and just one gate is open, and they're watching it. There's, you know, a few guys there with guns watching it all day, all night. Foot patrols all day, all night. Vehicle patrols all day, all night. So if we get any infiltrators heading our way, they're going to hunt the infiltrators down, not the other way around. And there's, I think, 200 communities in Israel that got set up like this. And that's a good step. A good step. Netanyahu terribly clings to gun control, and it irritates the people in Israel tremendously now. And he's still doing it. A typical politician doesn't want to admit he was wrong. So we may see a change with Netanyahu being the leader because things are not going well. Right from October 7th to now. They're really not going well. We're taking rockets every day. How can you say it's going well? tourism is finished. It's not going there. Are they going to get anybody in there that's better than him? I don't know. The Minister of Defense is not getting along with him too well, from what I understand. Go on. There's a guy named Eisenkopf that used to run the military, and he's in there with this unity government, and he's, they say, pretty good. But I don't know what kind of a voice he has in this unity government now. I don't know. They say Gantz is just kind of sitting there going with the flow. And they say Netanyahu does what the military tells him, which I can't believe, because if he says no, delay the invasion, it's going to get delayed. And I have no idea what Netanyahu thinks is going to happen by delaying the invasion, except every day 200 or 300 rockets. So it's illogical. Okay, it's probably his own selfish reasoning that's causing the delay. The Americans, it looks like that Biden is still singing "Give Peace a Chance" to Iran, and they're kind of laughing at him, and they keep having their satellites attack American bases, and the Iraqi militias are threatening to attack Kuwait and UAE, American military bases, and I would give it a 95% chance that they fulfill their threat. And that's it. I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm out. Thank you.